Jayson Tatum was the third overall pick in the NBA draft this year, and he is one of the core pieces in Danny Ainge's Celtics rebuild. At 6 feet 8 inches tall, he has the height to make an impact on the defensive end of the floor, but his real potential lies in his ability to score in isolation plays. Most of the best isolation players have the ability to shoot the basketball from range, and Tatum has shown some ability from three-point and mid-range. During his freshman year at Duke University, Tatum shot 34.2% from three while attempting 4 threes per game, and he also shot an excellent 84.9% from the free throw line. These numbers indicate that he will develop into an impactful shooter in the NBA, and in this video I'm going to break down some of the finer points about his technique. I'm going to focus on his three-point shooting, and I will make a separate video on his mid-range shooting if he proves to be an effective scorer on post-ups, something he flashed in the 2017 Vegas Summer League. The initial reaction from many people when they first see Tatum's shot is one of surprise because of how strange it looks. I think there are two things that make his shot somewhat unconventional looking. First, his knees move forward a huge distance over his toes as he brings the ball up to his set point. As a result, when the ball reaches his set point, his body is in an unnatural position, where his upper body is quite vertical, but his shins are at an angle towards the ground. This position is one that many players adopt when they shoot, but the biggest difference with Tatum is that he does not bend much at the hips during this movement. This leads to a very upright position, despite the large amount of lower leg bend, especially in the ankles. You can see that Tatum's heels leave the ground during this movement, putting his legs in a position where they are ready to explode and straighten. While this may look uncomfortable, I believe it has a positive effect on Tatum's jump shot because it forces him to jump forward when he shoots. All of his body weight is leaning forward when the ball reaches his set point, so it's extremely natural for his jump to be forward instead of vertical. A good forward jump aids momentum transfer from the body to the ball itself, giving Tatum more force behind his jump shot, which is very important from three-point range, as we can see in this video. The second part of Tatum's shot that looks funky is his offhand. He places his offhand in quite a unique spot on the ball. As you can see, it's close to his shooting hand, but actually very far backwards on the ball. If we pause the shot at his set point, his shooting hand is underneath the ball. Therefore, this is the bottom of the ball. Many players have their offhand on the left side or the top of the ball during this moment, but Tatum has his offhand close to the rear of the ball. Because of his offhand placement, his mechanics during the release portion of the shot are quite odd looking. As his offhand loses contact with the ball just before the release, it enters a flex position that he holds throughout his shot. The result is that he holds both hands flexed forward for a second, making him look quite strange in my opinion. However, I would say that this is a visual complaint and not a mechanical one. I think offhand mechanics are more a matter of personal preference than anything else, so I don't advocate for any specific placement on the ball. Tatum's hand placement is quite extreme, so I wouldn't recommend that people try to copy him, on top of the fact that it isn't particularly aesthetic. Tatum is quite a valuable case study when it comes to the relationship between the set point and the system of release timing. Any of you who have seen my other shooting technique breakdowns will know that I advocate for a system of release timing that involves an early raising of the ball and a release that takes part during the upward portion of the jump. If you're unclear on what I'm referring to, then I recommend that you watch the two videos that I've linked in the description below, the physics of a jump shot and how you can shoot like Steph Curry. In those videos, I often assume that having modern release timing also involves having a low set point to allow for a quicker shot overall. A lower set point means a shorter path for the ball to follow from the lowest point by the hips to the point of release over and in front of the head. This shorter path would therefore be more efficient for those using modern release timing, with Steph Curry being the prime example. Tatum is a special example because the ball is above his head during the set point, as opposed to in front of the face, like a player like Damian Lillard. The rearmost part of the ball is just in front of the back of Tatum's head, and it rests about an inch above the top of his head. Despite this, Tatum still releases the ball just before he apexes or at the exact moment where he apexes in his jump. What allows him to do this is his early preparation for his release. He brings the ball upward to his set point, while he is still bending his knees and lifting his heels off the ground. Because of this early arm movement, the ball reaches his high set point relatively early in his jumping motion. His shooting arm begins to extend right as his feet lose contact with the ground, allowing him to fully utilize the force that his legs are producing. This is unlike a true old school shooter like Ray Allen, who did not begin to extend his shooting arm until he had already left the ground from his explosive jump. Remember, Tatum is only able to do this because he has a quick and early arm raise as he bends his knees and lifts his heels off the ground in preparation to jump. The end result is that Tatum still has an efficient transfer of power from his legs to his arms during the release, giving him a powerful jump shot, which is the key to modern shooting from three-point range. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more engaging basketball content, and give this video a like if you enjoyed it.